So 10, 10 was yes, and 11 is
Public hearing.
Set for a public hearing.
Okay, because that's not right. They shouldn't be allowed to do business. Anyway, I just want to say what I have to say quickly. Some of these business that pretending they are business, they are not business. They're doing other stuff there. If you drive by and look, the business it's like empty. Another thing again, I was robbed out there, and the guy run into the deli right at the corner. When I called the police and they came, the deli was hiding the man inside. So these businesses are committing crime. They are allowing the people to sell them stuff, go into Stop and Shop and sell them stuff. Barber shop down there, I'm telling you, I see it with my eyes. Trays of expense, like $10,000 worth of glasses. They were selling the people in the barber shop, the customers and the workers. They're just as bad as the people do the stealing. And somebody was talking the last time that you brought the business in. I want to see some of these business go. They're here committing crime. They're not doing no business. They're doing more than business. Oh, they're paying these rents. Mayor, you need to get rid of a lot of them. People here, they know that they are doing more. Even over there, they're selling stuff to the kids. Loose cigarette, alcohol, all over. So don't tell me you don't go into this business, quote unquote, and see they're selling other things other than what they're supposed to be selling. I'm tired of this because I work hard and then these people come into my yard and steal my new brand car. And everybody here is talking about police this and police that. You need to get rid of some of this business. Go into some of them and see what they're doing. They're not doing no business. They're doing other things. In the basement, all over. That's why they're paying the rent. You drive by, it's empty. When I park out there to pick people, my family at the train station, I see how many times they rip people chain off and they go into this business. They're taking the phone and they're sending it back to their country. This is not right. And I know the police are working hard, but the people, everybody turn a blind eye to it. I didn't care, but when they take my car, I'm mad, because I work hard. These people don't want to go to school, they don't want to learn a trade. You spend hundreds of dollars to get an education, and then they want to be like, they want to take what you have, because they feel that they deserve it. This is not a communist state. They got to work for what they want. And I know everybody is saying that the mayor is not working hard, but he just started. Hempstead have been going down for years. A lot of corruption. We have mayors that never work, was doing dialysis three times a week and then go home and rest. How much work was he doing? So we got to give the mayor time.
All right, thank you. So that was your time. Don't stay there for 1 second. So in this incident where we made a stipulation with the business, we have public hearings, and if there is a business that's selling illegal drugs, gambling machine, we have closed down many of those businesses. If it is a business where the circumstances deem that we give them a last chance agreement, that if they mess up again, they don't get a public hearing, they don't get a second chance, the business is closed. So that's the stipulation that we made with this business, that they're clear about the mistake they made, and if it happens again, the business is shut down. And that's how we operate, okay? So we have been shutting down businesses that have been doing illegal activity.
And a lot of these businesses are encouraging people to stand outside and sell stuff that they're not supposed to sell, because it's 0 degree outside. Everybody's trying to go inside to get a hot cup of coffee and keep warm in their house. These guys are outside hanging out all day long, and when they do their crime, they share it with the businesses.
All right, so listen, I understand. Again, you could check through all of our board meetings. After public hearing, there have been many businesses that we have shut down for that. But we do give businesses last chance agreement if they correct the issue. I'm not talking about gambling machines. If they correct the issue and don't violate again. If this business right here, they understand If they get caught doing the same violation, the business is closed. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All
They
right?
don't give them a second chance in Westbury.
Well, okay. Thank you. Oh, you drop your pen.
Oh, it's not my pen, it was up here. Thank you.
Hassan. Hassan. Who?
That's him, he's the only Hassan.
Okay, come. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees and honorable mayor.
Good evening.
My name is Hasham Janjua. I live at one of the corner properties at the intersection of James L. Burrell Avenue and Yale Street. We do have some conflicting parking regulations at that intersection. At the northeast and northwest corners, there's some minor overlaps of that regulation per the attachment that I submitted. However, on the southwest corner, there seems to be an unusual regulation where there is a no standing any time for the entire block. On the utility pole in the middle of the block, there is a Tuesday regulation, as well as on the post itself at the intersection. And so and the enforcement of that regulation has been sort of somewhat gray. And so if there's any reason why we cannot park on that block or utilize that public space for parking, I would ask that that regulation be corrected to no standing from here to the corner. Alternatively, speaking as someone who has lived at that residence for 20 years, I have seen a lot of accidents happen at that intersection, especially on Yale and James L. Burrell. For those of you that have driven on James L. Burrell, it's like 5 blocks with no stop signs. And so alternatively, I would propose a all-way stop control at that intersection. So that way it makes the intersection much more safer for both motorists and pedestrians.
All right, thank you. So on the last Monday of each month, the Traffic Safety Board meets. That's the board that you want to bring these concerns or recommendations to. If they approve it, they'll change the signs, but that's the board that you have to speak to, the
Okay.
Traffic and Safety Board.
When do they meet?
Fourth Monday,
At 6, I believe.
6 o'clock. Okay.
That would be here?
Yes, right here.
But we'll look at the signage that's there now.
Yeah,
Sounds
he has
like,
pictures, yeah, it's-
Okay,
yeah.
it's like something is, we'll fix what's there, but the recommendation, you gotta go to traffic safety.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
All right. William Miller.
That's it.
Good evening. All right, so I have a number of different things, and I've given copies to everybody. At an earlier meeting, it was stated that the fines associated with lost court cases resulting from summonses would be reviewed to prevent landlords and businesses from accepting smaller fines and using that as the cost of doing business. So at one of these board trustee meetings, it was stated that you would be reviewing those fines and creating an escalating fine situation so that there'd be punitive damages that were ongoing. Where are we on that? I'm gonna ask all the questions and then
Okay.
you can answer them. On Fulton Avenue between Tennessee and Maryland Avenue, there are 3 premises that have been vacant for several years. One of these buildings has fire damage due to illegal squatting. They are an eyesore and continue to reinforce negative opinions of Hempstead. What is the village doing about these buildings, and why are the owners allowed to continue in their current conditions? If the village is not able to correct the situation through legal means, then the village might consider putting up a sign that says these buildings are owned by these individuals or corporations, and using it to embarrass them into civic responsibility, okay? I don't know if you do that or not, and then call them, a press conference to discuss it. Along the same lines, there's a bakery restaurant on the corner of Fairview and Fulton Avenue, Las Colinas. And I don't know if it's a good bakery or a good restaurant, but it has a sign that's hanging on a black backer board that is rotting out and has been reported on numerous occasions. And I know from past conversations with one of the trustees that summonses have been issued, but it continues to be there. And it again reinforces a negative stereotype of the village, because the landlord or the restaurant owner is not taking and owning their responsibility in making sure they're maintaining their building. And then related to that, is there a signage standard? Because we are all over the place with signage in this community. And some of them are good, some of them are bad, but you know, it doesn't send a nice message. It's just crowded. And it doesn't make you feel good about the signage. I mean, we had a situation with a bakery several years ago, it's been a long time now, where the signage was so big it pulled down the facade right on Fulton Avenue. So again, I don't know the process and who approves these building licenses and the planning that says, what is the sign going to look like before they get the license to operate their business? It should be part of the process if it isn't. And then what is our standard and how are we going to enforce those standards? Those are my points.
Right on time.
Right on time. So, as it relates to the minimum and maximum fines, we've been having those discussions, you know, with the trustees and also with our legal department. And so, right now, as it stands, there is in our ordinance that if someone is a repeat offender, that the prosecutors already have the authority to recommend escalated fines, higher fines. So in considering raising the minimum fine and maximum fine, we have to keep in mind that that means that every homeowner, that if they get their first violation, maybe a senior that didn't shovel the snow, they're gonna have to pay that minimum increase in the fine. So we're trying to see something that's gonna be fair for all the residents and yet being able to address the troubled landlords. And so we have the ability to go ahead and escalate the fine for repeat offenders. And so we're meeting with our legal department, our village justice, and trying to come up with a way that when we have repeat offenders, less escalated.
Okay.
Mayor, I'll just
Sure.
add that the prosecutors have already started that. So we are imposing higher fines for repeat offenders,
Okay.
while trying not to impact the everyday homeowner.
No, I can understand. That makes a lot of
So
sense.
we've already started that.
Okay.
All right, the homes on, between Tennessee and Maryland, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can help with that one.
Yeah, so we have the ability and we've done it. If a home is to a place where through our building department and through the legal procedure, we feel that this home is detrimental to the area, that we can tear it down. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. We'll have to check with the building department. You want to add
Yeah,
something?
so the person that bought off 3 or 4 of those properties right there was trying to build a strip of stores with apartments on top, and he got rejected.
Yeah, I remember you didn't have.
Yeah, he
the,
got rejected. I went to
sewage
that, he got rejected. So he just died like on Vine. There's nothing he could do. He's like sunk all his money into that property. He has put the properties on the market, and the building department is there all the time, making sure that it's boarded up. So if someone broke into the boarding and squatting again, it sounds like we need to get back in there. But
Well,
the properties are on the market to be
No,
sold.
it's boarded up.
Okay.
But the owner did not repair the fire damage, so it's unsightly. And aside from the fact that the building itself is unsightly with board.
No, I get it, but he's trying to sell it. He tried to build something that we said no to, and now he's got the properties. He's trying to get rid of them.
Okay, so at what point, though, do we allow them to say we need to demo those buildings?
Yeah, like the mayor said, we have the Filthy 15 and others that we are looking to go through the process
Did you
with
say
this.
filthy 15?
There's
Oh,
15, there's 15
Oh, I mean.
homes that we've identified as really in bad shape, and they're
Right.
really bringing down the value of certain parts of our community.
Mm-hmm.
And we've targeted those we call them Filthy 15, and the legal department is going through the process. You have to go all the way through New York State Supreme Court to get approval to knock it down. And then when we do get the approval, it took us a year to do the one on Linden. When we do get approval, then we go back and we have to find the money to actually go knock it down before we can then bill the owner of the home. So it is a process.
No, I
And
understand.
we've perfected the process now, and now we're doing as many of these as we possibly can with the limited funds and everything else that we have.
Well, that's
So,
good to hear.
Yeah, we're working on it. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Oh, the signage? I'm gonna speak to the building department. So, again, we still have to follow the law.
Right.
Even when it comes to violations, that every person has their day in court. And the court process sometime is, if I have a court date for, I'm just using January the 15th, and for some reason something come up and I can't make it, I'm given the chance to adjourn that. So it's a process.
Right.
But if it gets to the point where it's something that is deemed dangerous, or we feel that it's getting ready to fall down, we could remove it and then build them. But, you know, that's not the case yet with that. We do have, through our community development agency, funding to try to encourage our businesses to have some sort of uniform sign, and they give them the money to update their signs, but we can't, unfortunately, we can't make them.
Right.
I don't think we have anything in our ordinance that says all the signs have to be such and such color or look. We don't have that. That's something that we can consider, but we don't have that in place yet.
Yeah, I mean, something that should be considered.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's all over the place. The other thing is that, I don't know when the process is, when businesses apply for their license and so forth, do they provide plans
Yeah, they do.
that show the facade that it's going to look? And that should be part of the approval process. And if we're not
Right.
if we say we don't like the facade, we're not going to approve
But
it.
you can't make it arbitrary. We have to have our architectural standards, and we have not gone through that process. Honestly, we want to do it. We need people to join that architectural review board. We have to figure out where in the process does the architectural review land. I know the attorney and I have talked about this for a while. Should it be part of what the planning board does, or should it be a separate board that any applicant has to go in front of and show the sign? So we're actively discussing it, but, you know, like I said, just 5 people here, there's a lot of balls in the air. That's definitely one of the things that we're trying to
Okay.
get to, because we do want to standardize it in some way, shape.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll see it in my lifetime.
Well, hopefully you live a long time.
Thank you. Roxanne Steele.
Good evening,
Good
trustee
evening.
and mayor, everybody. I come here because I live at 482 Front Street, and my roof, which is the owner, is not doing anything about the roof. And I came here before with a meeting with one of my neighbors that's in the audience. Water comes in my living room, and it's not fixed, and the owner needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
He needs to go to jail, because he's not listening to none of us. We pay rent. I work hard. I do what I do, and I've got water coming down, and they're only patching it up. That's all they do, is patch it up. And so today, who came was the owner's building people came to the house today. I didn't even know they were coming, but they came and they looked at it. It's not good enough. How long is this gonna take? But he has a summons too. So wait for him to go to jail, be in the court first, and then go. But I'm just sick of it, you know? I'm a taxpaying person. I'm just tired of it. It's not being done, and he's just going around, you know? We have more neighbors that go through that too. My neighbor's gonna be coming up here in a few minutes, you know? Thank you. I already talked to the deputy, mayor, and all of you know, I've talked to y'all about this before, and I'm tired.
Right, listen, and I definitely understand what you're saying, but, you know, we're limited to what we can do within the scope of the law. The building department has issued violations. One of the things that we're considering, and we're gonna have a public hearing to address this, is to get these buildings that's not part of Hempstead Housing, to have them have inspections. We don't have anything where we do yearly inspections in some of these buildings. So that's something that we need to consider putting in our village ordinance, that any building owner has to be subject to have yearly inspections. That's something that doesn't exist, but something that we're looking to put in our ordinance, but we have to have a public hearing in order to act a new ordinance.
We have the building, I called the building inspector, he's been there, they hired cheap labor, they didn't do anything, he said it himself, you know. So I called Nina Panena,
Channel 7 News, and she's
Right.
gonna be coming up there too.
Okay.
And so I'm waiting for her, because I'm on the list, for them to come up here to rectify this. Just letting you know, this guy should not get away with it and thinking everybody's paying rent and not doing his job to make us comfortable in our own home.
Got you.
Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. Lisa Smith.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Letha Smith. I live at 482 Front Street, and Roxanne is my neighbor. We was here at the last meeting, and we spoke to Deputy Mayor and Mr. Burrow about this issue. Now, something has to be done with these landlords that's buying up all this property, owning these buildings, and letting these buildings decay. It's almost like they want them to go bad so they can have us move out, get disgusted, and leave Hempstead. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to fight. We have a problem in our building, and I'm almost afraid it's going to be like that apartment building in the Bronx, where the building fell because when it rains heavy, water comes down the staircase from the top of the roof. If you walk down the third floor hallway, you see on the walls bubble from the paint. It's molding up in there. You got a lot of people up in that building that got children, and they're not even supposed to be in those kind of apartments because they're only one bedroom and studio apartments. And you may have 3 and 4 kids in these apartments. God forbid if something happens in that building, because the building has hairline fractures on the bricks. I'm not no engineer, but I got enough common sense to know it's decaying. That building is old. The building is not being taken care of. It's filthy. We don't have a super that goes through that building and clean it up. You know, we have to text him and tell him, you didn't vacuum the floor on the 3rd floor. You didn't mop the elevator. You didn't clean the glass door. How do you maintain a building? And you got all these buildings throughout of Hempstead. You own these buildings. You got plenty of money, but you're not putting nothing back into it. But you're giving us notices in 5 days. If you don't pay your rent, they want to take you to tenant and landlord courts. This has to stop. Somebody has to take a stand and say, these landlords cannot treat us this way. You call them, they won't even answer the phone. They don't even give us the respect to answer the phone or call us back. So something needs to be done. And I'm bringing my issues to you guys because I don't know where else to go. I'm like Roxanne. I'm tired, but I'm going to fight. I'm going to be a John Lewis. I'm going to be good trouble. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, and as I said, we're working to change our ordinance, to strengthen it, so that we can have more authority in doing inspections. It's not in the code now, but we're gonna make sure that we put those in the code.
One more thing. You got a lot of these people walking around going into these dumpsters. They taking out stuff out of the garbage. They're peeing behind the dumpsters. You got children in this area. They're drinking liquor in the back. You know, they're throwing up their bottles up to the lip. This got to stop. What kind of example are we showing our children?
Absolutely. And if you see somebody doing that, please call the police.
Not talking.
Okay. Oh, Brent Lee Hinton.
Right? It's like,
I know you didn't eat.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I like to piggyback off the young lady, young lady.
You can't talk to the people,
Their
only
apartments.
address the board.
And the house, excuse me?
You have to address the board, not the,
I'm addressing the board. I can't turn?
you have to address the
Come on,
board.
stop it. And I'm piggybacking off of these young ladies because it's happening too much. It's happening too much in Hempstead. And they know it's happening too much. I've been to every building in Hempstead, apartment building, and we called the mayor down, and we had the same problems in the next building. And the next building had the same problem as the next building. the landlords are not doing their job. And all these buildings has 30 and 20-year payback.
That's not true.
Majority of them do.
They don't.
Ain't no need in lying.
So
You
don't,
need-
so
you
don't,
need-
so then
you need
don't
to go over
lie.
there and check
Then
it out.
Don't lie.
It's a shame what's going on in Hempstead. It's a shame. At my building at 260, it's terrible. I want the mayor a letter, an email, and many others the email. You think he'll come by and see what's up?
We've all been
No.
by, Mr. Haynes.
Boroughs don't say a word because you came there, couldn't find nothing. All you want to do is change the directive. How you want to change the directive if the kitchen door is locked? We're in the community room, the kitchen door is locked. The refrigerator is locked. The fridge is locked.
What's a refrigerator?
Both fridges is locked. What for what? We in a senior building. And Borough said it was directive.
I
I'm
said
no
that
better than that.
you have in your individual
Please
apartment,
stop
you
it,
have in
stop
your
it. My
unit,
turn to
you
talk.
have a
It's
refrigerator,
my turn.
not the community
So
room.
it's a shame that, especially you three, it's a shame. And Hobbs, you know better. You know better, Hobbs. It's a shame. Even before you became mayor, I used to call you over. And you used to say you was trying. You just came in and just sat there and did nothing. That's just what they're doing now. Nothing.
That's not true.
It's a fact.
That's not
Well,
true. I can
look all these
name
problems,
I can name
all these
50
problems
things
we
that
have
we're
here.
doing.
It's a shame.
I can name 50 things that
All
we're
these-
doing.
I'm talking right now.
But you
Every
don't.
building in Hempstead has a big problem.
That's
Just-
not
That's
true.
about every building.
That's not true.
My sister lives in here. The tax is sky high.
How you know?
Sky
How do you know?
high.
How do you know what the taxes of the building
My
are?
sister lives in Hempstead.
How do you know that?
My sister showed
How
me
do
your
how do
bill.
you know that?
Stop interrupting
Your
me.
sister
Wait
rents
till
and
your
she's
turn.
not
No,
there.
it's not your turn.
All right.
But
All right.
Mayor, straighten them out because it's my turn to talk. And it's a shame. Hempstead is not for us.
Who's us?
You. You is
It's
us.
for me. It's for everybody here.
everything
That's
that they
positive.
do in
It's
Hempstead
not for the
is
lady in Rockville Center.
And believe that. Believe that. Nothing in here.
Nothing in here.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
All right, thank you.
I'm the third person to talk about the buildings.
Catherine
Tell
Gary.
me something.
Catherine Gary.
They don't care. They get paid.
So, Miss, there's no speaking from there. If you have something to say, you should put a form in. All right, so then you don't talk from the audience, all right? Thank you.
Tell me I can't talk?
Are you
Absolutely.
That's the rules of decorum.
That's the decorum, that's the
I'm
rule.
gonna be quiet, okay?
I know you will. Thank you. Miss Gary.
Good evening. As you know, I am a journalist who has been attending village board meetings here in Hempstead for over 20 years. And as you know, during that time, I have been the editor of a publication called the Freedom Press. And since it is now Black History Month, I have decided to republish a prior issue of the Freedom Press, which revealed that Black inventors and scientists have been at the very forefront of creating inventions which have reshaped the world we live in. This virtually important information on Black inventors has been available for well over 30 years, but it is still not emphasized properly in the school curriculum. And since you have in the past indicated that you want to do something for the schools, I suggest that instead of you trying to move ahead with your plan to turn this village into a high-income city for the wealthy, I suggest that you issue the updated version that I am producing of the Black inventors and have it printed up so that you can have enough copies for all the school children in Hempstead, and that you would see to it that all the students receive copies. I hereby present to you with copies of the original Black Inventors newsletter from several years ago. And I will deliver to you the updated version as soon as it is available for distribution. This newsletter will be titled I'm black and I'm proud. And it will provide a very important step in overcoming racism in the community and will promote self-pride and serve to boost the self-esteem of all the Hempstead students. With this done, I suggest you write to the governor
That's why I said that.
and
Yeah, this
demand
was very easy.
that she see to it that this information on black inventors be immediately incorporated into the school curriculum for the entire state. Thank you.
We can't do that, Ms. Gary.
You listen, Patricia, take that garbage away because I'm not taking it.
We can't
Miss-
tell them,
Miss
we can't
Gary.
give that to the school district.
Miss Gary, as a teacher that works, I got it. As a teacher, Miss Gary,
No, you could go to the school district yourself and present it to them.
yeah.
I don't have authority
no
over the
authority.
school district,
No authority over the schools. Motion to
none
close.
whatsoever.
Is that it?
No, we have one more.
She wants to be disruptive.
All right, so
Next.
let's get order.
Brothers,
We're,
brother mathematics.
we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. But I want our Hempstead residents to take note of how Miss Gary constantly feels that we need her to give us direction on what. Do it sound like a racist statement?
No. Let's just keep going.
All right,
Everybody
Mr. Brad,
Mr. Bratton.
you're on your way out.
You're gonna have to go.
Absolutely.
I ain't saying nothing.
See ya.
Bye.
You already know.
Bye.
Oh, watch it. Be careful.
And please don't trip over Miss Gary because
You know him has a problem.
let him security out. Out. Bye. All right.
See you in 2 weeks, Mr. Henry. See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So okay.
What she say?
Catch a case.
All right, Miss Jordan.
Hi, good evening. I didn't necessarily expect to speak. Yeah.
Speak to the mic. There you go. Go ahead. Yes.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My request was, had to do with a follow-up. I don't know if you saw it on the.
Right. So you have an opportunity to speak now. State it.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. So ultimately, I know that we had spoken on one other occasion, and I just wanted to just present a gentle reminder so that we could schedule our next meeting in reference to next steps as it relates to the Hempstead Public Library. And in hearing some of the comments today, I think, perhaps some of the people here in this room might want to maybe get a little bit more involved with matters pertaining to the library, and that might actually meet some of their needs in terms of the things that they would like to see presented to the community. I think that if we had a resource within the library, in essence, a director that more meets the needs of our community, that we can address some of the issues that we're hearing tonight, at least as it applies to Black History Month information. Perhaps we can start there.
Okay. So of course you called my office.
I did.
Right. And
Several
then
times, yes.
and of course there are
Yes.
plenty schedules that they do,
Yes.
but they will get back in contact with you
All
and we'll do a follow up.
All right,
Okay.
brilliant. Appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to close? There's no.
Oh, did you miss one?
Let me see. I'm sorry.
There it is, Mrs. Woe.
Miss- Yes. Patricia McNeil. I'm sorry, something, it got mixed up in it.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good
Deputy
evening.
Mayor, and trustees.
Good evening.
Patricia McNeil, 65 Crookshank Avenue, Hempstead. What is the process to review and amend or upgrade our codes for the village? Because they're no longer serving the village properly. For example, I was here for the meeting Thursday night for the zoning, and the gentleman knocked the building down from 3 stories to 2 stories on South Franklin across from the school, and they still wouldn't go for that. But then they turned around, Dan turned around and said, someone could come and build a 7-story building here, and they won't have to come to the zoning board because it's within the codes. But the other building, since it was gonna be apartments, they had to come to the zoning to get a variance. So now we're stuck between picking this devil or that devil. Why can't we look at the codes, review them, and make amendments or upgrade them so they can better serve the community? So we can stop getting stuck with things that we don't want in this village and go for more of the things that we do.
Right, so we have been reviewing all of our codes. There are a lot of codes that's incomplete, inconsistent, and we have to have public hearings as we address each code that we update, and that's what we've been doing. And like I said, there's tons of codes that have to be updated. So between everything else that we have to do to maintain the village, we still have to have public.
No sympathy, I'm sorry.
But I don't want you to have sympathy. I'm telling you the process. So in order for us to efficiently run the village, repair roads, provide police protection, also update our codes, that's all the process that we have to do. So we've been doing it little by little.
So when was the public meeting for that? I haven't got any notification or.
Some of the codes that we've had plenty public hearings.
Public hearings just for codes?
Specific codes in our code book, yeah.
And when was that?
One thing was about
we can go back
the
and
change in the
The coverage, the lot coverage. 'cause
Lot
they're squeezing
coverage?
Lots, we're looking at I can't say that, I guess I can't. We're talking about certain things.
That would require, changing the zoning and stuff like that. And a part of the process is drafting the proposed code, so that when we set the public hearing, then everybody's on notice what the proposed code is. And that would indicate what the current code is, what changes are being made, and all that stuff. So
Okay.
we're in the process of drafting that. The zoning code throughout the village address everything. The residential, the commercial, the
Okay.
business, what can go where.
Okay,
So
that's
we're
part
in
of
the
doing
process.
business.
So I'm saying, so the process is we draft the proposed, and then we present it. We don't yet have a public hearing for that, because we're still drafting and considering what the new codes would look like.
So how will the public hearing be published? How will we know about the public hearing?
It's announced like we do our board meeting on our website. We post it. So that's how we
And
make
it will
our.
say to address codes.
Yes,
changing codes.
yes.
And then a copy of that draft will be attached, so you see it before you come.
Okay, I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
All right, you're welcome. All right.
Before we close, I have one statement that I would like to make. We don't always have to agree with each other, but I do think that we should respect each other when someone is giving their opinion, because at the end of the day, we all have to live here. So we don't have to laugh and hackle. You never know what a person is thinking or feeling. So I think that we should at least give respect to each other. You know, that is the least that we can do. So I just ask that when you guys voice your opinion, you know, if you don't agree with what somebody's saying, let's just respect them and say, okay, you know, that's their opinion. We all have a right to come here. And when we do stuff like that, guess what? People don't want to come up and speak. They don't want to say anything because they watch us and they say, you know what, it's too much going back and forth. So it just kind of make people don't want to speak up. So let's please just be mindful of each other's opinion and views, because we don't all have to agree, but we do have to respect each other, because we got to live here, especially for the good of Hempstead. Thank you.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but I think it's playing semantics to think that when Mr. Hinton that comes here every week and starts and disrespects this board, right, and then pulls and drags the worst part of the community and try to say that is the entire community, that's a dishonest broker. And a dishonest broker needs to be called out as a dishonest broker. And I don't see anyone that brings legitimate issues here being ridiculed are being told or being told bad things. We actually encourage people to come forward and participate in the community. I'm happy and glad that Miss Rosa is still here, who we did a stipulation for, so she can keep her business open. What you could not see, and I'm sorry for calling you out, what you could not see is her praise God and thank the Lord that we kept the business open. I could see that from the dais. You couldn't see that. So let's not act like just these handful of rebel rousers that come here every other week. They sit around and figure out what they're going to say that week and come here and try to poke holes on us and lie on us. That's not the community, okay? We welcome the community. You're definitely not the community. But we welcome the community to come and speak to us the same way they can come speak to the police department, the building department, and every other part of this community. We are an open, transparent board, except for the 3 people that know everything better than we do.
Right, and listen, politics is not in play when you talk about decorum. There is a certain way that you have to speak when you address the board, and we're not tolerating any disrespect or nonsense. Simple as that. We call it for what it is. Any resident that get up here have an issue or a complaint, that is respectful. We hear them out, we try to answer them. But I'm not going to sit here and allow anyone to make this a circus. It's not happening. If you cannot follow the decorum, you're going to be asked to leave. Simple as that.
My statement wasn't about any particular one. I said the entire Hempstead residents. I said, it's not what you said, it's how we say, and let us all respect each other. So it's not pointed towards anybody. It was just saying we should address everybody and let everybody feel comfortable coming up here to speak.
Right,
So
and-
that's
right.
my statement.
I think they
But
are
I understand that,
comfortable.
but my statement is still my statement, that you're
And
going
mine
to
as
have
well.
decorum when you come here. All right, can I get a motion to close?
I make a motion.
Second.
Trustee Daniels?
Yes.
Trustee Burrows?
Yes.
Trustee Griffith?
Yes.
Trustee Boone?
Yes.
Mayor Hobbs?
Yes. All right, thank you. Get home safe.